Hey folks, Pastor Dale here with our weekly Wedgwood Baptist Church update, and just to give you some information on what's going on in the life and the ministry of our church. Now, this week we've got a lot of very important announcements that you'll want to pay attention to. The first one is we're going to continue to offer our preschool ministry for childcare for children birth to age 5 on Sunday mornings. To make use of that, you will definitely need to make sure to register beforehand. You can text the word preschool to our church team's number, 817-292-1400. You'll need to do that by Wednesday in order for us to know how many children to expect, how many workers to have, how many rooms to have available. So make sure to do that as well, just like we did this previous week. Now, the other big announcement is concerning just our Sunday morning in general. We are going to do some things a little bit differently moving forward. The first thing is we're going to go ahead and stay at our capacity of what we currently are running on Sunday mornings. What I mean by that is right now we have the gym set up to hold about 60% of what it can hold. And then we have our other rooms at around the same number. We feel like it's best for us to continue to stay at those numbers to allow people to practice some social distancing moving ahead. So we don't foresee us increasing the seating capacity in any of our rooms right now. So the gym will stay at around 60% capacity. Room 130, which is our overflow, will have about the same amount. And then we still have room 110 set up for anybody that is a little bit more susceptible to COVID-19 and would like to practice even more social distancing from the rest of the crowds. The other thing that we're going to begin doing this Sunday is advocating for folks to wear a mask. Now, we're not going to require it, so if you show up and you forgot it or you just don't feel the need to wear one, that's fine. You're still going to be allowed, obviously, to come to worship, but we're going to be highly encouraging people to do that. Why? Well, the CDC is doing that, and we're seeing a lot more media posting about the importance of wearing masks through this season, and so we want to try to be good neighbors to the people in our community and do our part to come alongside our local leaders here in our city and our state as a whole. And so we're going to encourage you to wear a mask. We will have some available. If you don't have one, we'll have some hopefully by this Sunday available as well for you to utilize. Now, the staff, we probably will be wearing masks unless we're in a role that prevents it. So, for example, I'm not going to preach from a mask, but I'll be socially distanced from each of you because I'll be on stage. Same thing with our worship team and Phil and others that will be on the stage. Now, the other big thing that we want to go ahead and announce that's a pretty significant change is initially we had planned to start back up our missional communities on site beginning Sunday, July 5th. At this point, we feel like it's still too soon to do that. And so we are going to hold off launching our missional communities on site and probably through the month of July. We're going to be evaluating this as we go to see kind of what our local leaders and the CDC are recommending. And so for now, our missional communities will not be on site for this foreseeable future. You can still meet via Zoom. I know some missional communities are starting to gather smaller groups in homes or meet outside whenever the weather's nice. So feel free to do all of those things, but we will not be opening the church campus up to hosting missional communities on site. Now, all of that to say, this Sunday, we're going to be continuing our series through the book of Philippians, and we've been talking about the call to have joy amidst all different types of circumstances. And this Sunday, we're coming up on a passage that I think is very appropriate for the situation that we find ourselves in. Paul there in Philippians chapter 2 calls us to count one another as more important than ourselves, to look to the needs and interests of others above our own. And let me just be real honest with you. We have a great opportunity to do that as a church family. Because as a pastor, I've heard from both sides and different viewpoints of people within our church. There are some of you that are very nervous about this disease, and you're very worried about making sure to take all the necessary precautions that are recommended to us, whether that be social distancing or wearing a mask or just staying home. Others of you are so done with all of this and you're just ready to move back to life as normal. And so you're not as concerned about wearing a mask or social distancing. You're ready to give everybody you see a hug. And so we have both of those groups and probably people in between that somewhere, all here at Wedgwood. And so here's what we're trying to do as a church leadership, and I think as a church as a whole, is just to be mindful of the needs and interests of other people. And so whether or not I personally want to wear a mask is irrelevant at this point. There's a lot of people in our church that would probably feel more comfortable if their pastor greeted them with a mask. And so I want to be mindful of that. And let me encourage you to do the same. Now, this is the thing that we have to be careful of, is to make sure that we don't begin to divide up into different groups who are basically pro-mask and anti-mask. We want to be able to come together as Jesus' body, as the church, and to be able to love and encourage one another. So just know this, that if you show up this Sunday, you don't have a mask on, great. If you show up this Sunday and you have a mask on, we love you. There's no pressure from either side in this kind of a situation. These are definitely interesting times, to be sure. And so let me encourage you to continue to be praying for our church, to continue to be praying for our leadership, continue to be praying that we as a church body would count one another as more important than ourselves, to look to the needs and the interests of other people above our own, and to continue to pray for our country as a whole as we work through this pandemic, through other social issues that are going on in our midst, and everything else that we have to walk through this season. Know that we are praying for you, and we are here to help out any way we can. We hope you have a great week. We look forward to seeing you this Sunday.